Toastmasters. The ever subtle sigh, accompanied by an elongated rolling of the eyes, is unmistakable. My wife is annoyed again. This time it's because I'm rebuilding my computer with a difficult to use operating system. But before that, it was the build-it-yourself mechanical keyboard, the Sudoku puzzles that I love so much, and the manual transmission car that I bought on a whim. You see, in her eyes, I complicate matters in life for no reason at all. But to me, these are challenges that I enjoy overcoming. Throughout my entire life, there's been an underlying desire to search and destroy challenges along the way. Today, I'm going to share with you a couple snapshots of my life from grade school to grad school, with submarines in between, where I've chosen a more difficult or technical path. This story starts in grade school and into high school, where the desire to challenge myself was primarily manifested in my schoolwork. My parents had a high expectation of me early on, and for me, that meant anything below an A- was absolute failure. Well, for my brother, who chose not to read that memo, he decided that anything above an F was absolute success. To no one's surprise, I had high scoring grades year after year, and sooner rather than later, it was time to choose a college degree and a college to go to that would ensure my success in the long term and a higher salary than my small Missouri town average. This led me to looking into engineering, but because mechanical engineering sounds just a little too boring and not challenging enough, I went nuclear. I studied nuclear engineering at the Missouri University of Science and Technology, or Missouri S&T for short, where I expanded my challenges from just the purely academic to include the interpersonal. While there, before I even had a chance to begin missing my family, I was already out of the dorms and joining a fraternity. The fraternity provided a lot of opportunities with over 100 ideas, temperaments, backgrounds, and, well, levels of drunkenness. And while there, just being a member wasn't enough at a certain point, and I chose to become the vice president and then the treasurer in back-to-back years, as well as serving in other organizational roles along the way. There was one challenge in college, however, that was difficult to shake and always looming over me, and that was the challenge of finances. The money that my parents had saved away from me disintegrated in the first semester, and I had to rely on student loans from Sallie Mae in order to keep my education afloat. That is, however, until I met a recruiter for the Navy Nuclear Propulsion Program. I was immediately hooked by merging the nuclear engineering side of what I was really interested in with also serving my country in the Navy. And submarines do sound pretty cool on their own. Approximately 6 months later, I had gone through 3 phone interviews that were over math and physics problems that I had to solve. Then I flew to DC and had 3 more in-person interviews, with a final interview of a 4-star admiral over nuclear power. After he gave his personal approval for my application, a quick 16 minutes later, and I had sold my soul to submarines. A few weeks after that, and I was reaping the benefits and bi-monthly payments and a $15,000 signing bonus that bought me a nice new gaming computer that I, of course, built myself, and my wife's engagement ring. After college, I went straight into the Navy since I was already pre-approved and getting paid. Effectively, I was just on the train of naval training. 2 years in total, where I spent a couple months in Newport, Rhode Island, then down south to Charleston, South Carolina, and then back up north to Groton, Connecticut. During this period, I didn't really get to choose my challenges, as those are just really chosen for me by the Navy. Once I reached my first submarine, however, colloquially referred to as a boat, I was able to begin challenging myself in ways that I wanted to again. My first captain gave me the opportunity to choose my division, and this meant that I could choose roughly the 15 to 20 guys that I would be leading. For me, I chose one of the most difficult, Reactor Controls Division, where all of my team was in charge of the maintenance and operation of the nuclear instrumentation and the reactor control mechanisms that ensured we were safe in operating at power at sea and safe and shut down in port. Finally, we reached the Naval Postgraduate School, where I'm studying applied physics. And if you've been paying attention at all, it's really not surprised that I chose one of the most technical and challenging degrees you can. At NPS, I have the unique opportunity to expand myself, just not through my academics again, but also through some leadership opportunities on the side. And for me, that's what Toastmasters is. It's just that next challenge to expand my leadership capabilities. With Toastmasters, I hope to become a better speaker, a better listener, and overall a better leader. Because if there's one thing I learned on a boat, it's that a sailor who feels like they're not being listened to won't listen to you. Now that I've taken you through this cursory reflection of my past, I hope I've expanded your awareness of my challenges and why I choose them. I don't know where I'll be going next after NPS, but I do suppose, much to my wife's displeasure, that it won't be simple because I simply won't choose it to be. I do know one thing, however, that I will be a better leader, father, nuclear engineer, and husband than if I didn't challenge myself at all. Oh, and that I'll still be doing those Sudoku puzzles. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.